This is the Amp Hour Podcast. Recorded previously, but aired March 26th, 2017. Episode 341. All the Way with DLJ.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
What's up, nerd?
Ooh, getting close, man. I've got
close?
I've got my meetup. I've got meetups scheduled for New Zealand.
Wow.
New Zealand. Yeah,
Yep.
two in New Zealand. So
Two
one
in
in
New
Auckland.
Zealand.
Yep. And one in Wellington.
Sweet.
So if there's anyone listening and you're near there or you know people near there, let me know. I will relink in the info, but it's there's a place called Galbraith's in Wellington, or in Auckland rather, and then Fork and Brewer in Wellington. But there's detail. I'll post details too. So
Right. So you're hopping across the ditch there, from south to north.
South. What? No.
Yeah, because you're going to south first, right? You're going to the South Island.
No. I'm going to Auckland first, and then there's a meetup that night.
Oh,
And then
sorry.
I'm flying down
right.
to Wellington, which is the bottom of the North Island.
No,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to south, though. I thought you were
And
going
then
to Christchurch.
I'm going to the south after that.
right.
Yeah.
You're flying out of Christchurch. That's right.
Queenstown,
Aren't you?
actually.
Oh, Queenstown. Okay.
Yeah.
The adventure capital of the world, Queenstown.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah. Didn't you know that? The guy's going to Queenstown, and there's nothing else to do in Queenstown except adventure stuff, dude.
So I'm going to be bungee jumping
You're
without
bungee-
even wanting to?
That's where bungee jumping was invented by A.J. Hackett, and he's got a bungee jumping school there. So you can...
I'm not
Go
sure I'm
to
going to
the
be
original
bungee
guy.
jumping, but yeah,
You're
I'll
not
be
going to
doing
be personally
stuff
bungee jumping with A.J. Hackett. That'd be... Yep.
That would be something, huh? Yeah.
That'd be something. Yep.
I'm not much of an adventure person, I suppose, but nature and stuff. So we'll see how it all goes.
How do you get, what do you just go to tourist lookouts and that's it? Is that your extent of communing with nature? How can you like nature and not want to at least be somewhat
jump into
adventurous?
the void? I don't know, Dave. You and I operate on different wavelengths, I suppose.
All right. Well, I'm dragging your ass down a canyon then.
Oh boy. Well, we'll see how that goes. I will get travel insurance for that. Yeah.
Right. Actually, it's pretty yeah, it's really difficult.
Sweet. Awesome. Yeah. Yep.
You'll be fine.
I'll be fine. Yeah. So
no one's died on my trip yet. They've been taken away to hospital, but no one's technically died yet. So it's all good. Yet.
All right. Well, we had a good run. Almost hit 350, but
yep.
Yep. We probably will have a little bit of a blip in shows. To be honest.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we'll probably.
So
we have no idea what we're doing here yet, do we? You haven't replied to my email.
We'll have. Yeah, sorry. Now you know what it feels like. Yeah, we'll definitely have something going on, something coming out from us hanging out, but no plans yet. So we'll get there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Christchurch. So Wellington, Auckland. So nothing. No meetup in the South Island.
No. No. There's not many people down there.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think the the official population of Queenstown is 40 people. So
right.
It's all
and they're all backpackers, yeah.
They're all backpackers, yeah, and European kids, it's on their holiday and stuff. So,
yeah. Well, I can imagine because, the bottom of New Zealand is lower than Tasmania, and Tasmania is like a cold place, yeah. So it's lower than Australia is. So it's so the bottom of I think Christchurch is like about even with Hobart,
whatever.
And Hobart's down in Tasmania, and it's probably it's like the coldest part of Australia.
Yeah, you're just talking about straight latitude, right?
Yes. Yeah. Straight latitude, straight. Yeah, and but the top tip of the North Island in New Zealand lines up with Sydney, so it's got the same temperate as Sydney. Yeah,
or hot as hell sometimes.
Oh well, You know. No, I don't think it gets hot as hell in New Zealand. I think it's...
No, I meant Sydney's hot as hell. That's what I really meant to say.
It can get hot as hell, yeah. Hottest summer on record, you just missed it. Gosh darn it.
Oh, darn, yeah. I hope I didn't miss the pit of spiders and snakes as well.
No, I got plenty of those, don't worry about that.
Okay, good. So what have you been up to, man?
I have... what have I been up to? I have started a new style of video.
That's fun. How'd it go?
I like these tablets. I got one of these Wacom tablets. You know, one of those pen touchy arty tablet things that you write on and it copies it on the screen.
Yeah, I have one of those.
But it... Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes, I used to call them sketchplanations. That was my clever word when I'm
And have you used
things.
it for videos and stuff?
Oh, yeah, for like 3 years, man.
Oh, right. Okay, this is all part of your contextual electronics.
Yep.
Okay.
But I always had problems like I'm not very good. It's kind of like a hand and eye coordination. Like I don't know about you, but I have terrible handwriting to start with.
Yeah,
and,
mine's not great.
So and then you got to like I don't know like the angles and yeah. So it is an art to it for sure.
Yeah, but no, like I started using it yesterday. So you know, I took it out of the box, hooked it up, and then just you know, I had to learn how to use the tablet, had to get used to the interface, and I had to figure out how to capture it. You know, figure out a new paint program that I've never used before, figure out how to capture it, how to set up the hotkeys and everything. And I was making content within the hour, you know, or 2 hours.
Well, that's not bad.
You know, it's pretty good. Yeah. So I think my first effort is not bad.
So
at
here's
all.
the thing. So you had told me before the show this is kind of like a Khan Academy style, which that's what Sal Khan used when he was getting started too, and like that's what a lot of people do.
I think they still do.
Yeah, I think that the problem with all that stuff is like it's boring, you know? Like watching someone draw is like I mean you can speed it up and I don't know if I've recommended it on here recently, but I love this thing called video speed controller, Chrome plugin.
Yep.
I probably mentioned it 3 times, yeah.
Yep.
But it's great for stuff like this, especially where you can speed it all up.
Right.
But it's still, I mean, it's just you're watching someone draw stuff, and this was always my complaint in like physics class in high school too. You know, like there's a balance because sometimes when people are taking their own notes, they really like that because it kind of associates that hand-eye, you know, people taking notes often learn better that way, but I never did personally, so.
Right. Well, you know, everyone's different. You're not going to, you know, there's no one style, but they're popular for a reason. You know,
well,
so,
yeah, sure,
you know,
sure.
Yeah, they're massively popular.
Right.
And most people seem to like it, although quite a few people mentioned, a lot of people mentioned that, you know, they miss seeing my face. That's why they like my whiteboard stuff, because I get animated and I point and, you know, slap my forehead and do whatever. So a lot of people but they said they do like the tablet drawing thing, but they want my video, but they want my ugly mug in the corner, you know. But I do that on other videos, and they complain, "Oh, your face is distracting. I don't want to get rid of your head." So it's like you can't
get your stupid face out of the frame, man. Yeah.
So anyway, my next one, I'll try that. I'll try to put my little ugly mug in the corner somewhere, and
whatever.
You know,
people are stupid.
You know, and then people complain about the white background versus the black background. Khan Academy use a black background, and they reckon it's better. And
have you ever taken one of those courses or no?
No, I've never. I didn't know you take courses. I don't know how. I thought Khan Academy was just like a YouTube channel.
No, I mean like they have a full. I mean, they got a bunch of funding even, but it's like a full blown learning system. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Right. I didn't know.
And I think a lot of them are hosted on YouTube, but like it's kind of just to help do the order of stuff, and you know, like so that people could follow along or submit assignments, things like that.
Anyway, that's my plan, is to do at least a few of these a week, and and sort of like do them fairly comprehensive, like as in like start from the scratch. Like I done introduction to digital logic, right? You know, real like what is a logic gate? You know, what is an AND gate kind of thing, and like I might follow on from there, and like so I'll end up with like a whole like course full of course full of
You're getting
material.
right into my domain here. Not that I'm threatened. I'm not threatened by the domain. I'm just saying that like
mine's free.
I think that
yours isn't.
without this kind of stuff, right? So like, so when you start talking about logic gates, you immediately start talking about like this is always a confusion that I had or students I talk to have where you have all these terms that you're just like even if you start from the beginning, right?
Oh yeah, no, these terms you won't know. You just
right,
and
right,
you can't take a tangent to explain every single term.
Exactly,
that there's got to be assumed. No, I actually hate educational material like that dumbs it down.
It's almost like you need like a project, and then you could explain it as you go along, and then there's some kind of context. I don't understand how this works, Dave, but I think that might be a good idea.
Context.
That was so
if
snarky.
only had somebody had a course that had context in the title.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think that is always the tough part, right? Where it's like, at least if you have a thing blinking, and then you go back and you say why it's blinking, that can be a little bit more helpful. But even still, it's going to be confusing. Like there's always those points of.
Yeah.
I really wish that when I was in school, someone had just been like, there's certain points where it's like. It's almost like you're a dad, right? You know how this is. I have a dad. I'm not a dad. But like the why your kids ask, or if you are a kid, you ask, why do I have to do that? And the father, of course, says, anyone?
Bueller.
No, you're not gonna. You don't know the response to that question, Dave?
No.
It's because I said so. That's the answer to that question, right? Right. And there's like an equivalent in education, right?
There is. Okay. Yeah. I see.
Where sometimes you have to be like, well, just keep going, it's not always relevant to say that. And I think a lot of universities programs overuse that.
Yep.
But
but see that, and it's also an order thing of the way people watch it. You can't just have your contextual, like your demo, your Blinky demo, and then not go back and cover everything of how you got to that demo. So
totally
it's like,
agree. Yep.
So like whether or not you put that other info up first is just a playlist order, basically.
Maybe. I don't know, man. I think that it's all about the dopamine.
If people are taking a structured course, I totally agree. But if somebody is just browsing YouTube and go, oh, I want to know how Carno maps work. I've heard about them, but I've got no idea, right? I don't want to have to go sit through a LED Blinky thing and then work my way back to Carno. I just want the video on Carno maps.
Right, right. So this is the thing that I've been restructuring for is like skills, right? So like understanding a Carno map itself is a skill. Yes. And so it's almost like you need these like little bite-sized chunks of info.
That's what I want to produce.
When you're ready to, you just go off, you say pause on the video talking about Carno maps because you're actually implementing it in Logic. You go off, what the hell is that? Okay, I kind of get that. Go back, keep going, right? It's kind of like these it's like Wikipedia holes, but like little tiny ones where you're not going all the way to the bottom.
Got it.
Dave, we're converging. We're converging in so many ways.
I know.
Yes.
Physically and
exactly. Right.
Yes. Well, yes.
We'll start singing Ebony and Ivory at some point, I'm sure.
But yeah,
cool.
I want to do that. I've always wanted to do that. I've always thought that'd be a reasonable idea. But like people say, oh, why don't you stick with the whiteboard? Is because people don't realize how much effort it is to actually, like it might not be a lot of extra time, but the hassle of setting up a camera, getting the SD card ready, setting it up, got your wireless mic, making sure that's working, make sure the batteries are charging, make sure your remote control is working, make sure your brightness and contrast, all your settings are all set up, and then
it's
you're
almost like you don't want to edit video or something.
I know.
Too.
It's like
another thing that someone talks about all the time.
Actually, I do like the editing process. Like the shooting process can be a pain in the ass. Especially like setting up whiteboard stuff. If you're the only person there and you've got to dick around with the camera, and I stand in at the whiteboard with my remote control. I'm peering because I have my camera back, so I get an excellent depth of field. So like my head and the whiteboard are in the same shot. So the camera's way back, so I'm like peering at it, trying to see if I've pressed the record button properly, and to see if it's still in, whatever,
Like the old man squints, is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot of whereas I found producing the tablet, just sitting at my desk here and producing content on the tablet was so easy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You know, I
Hello,
could churn
I'm the
out...
choir. You should continue preaching to me.
Right.
Well, you should. You know what you should do is you should hire someone to some young whippersnapper to press the button on your camera.
I'm not doing that, but I am going to hire some young whippersnapper.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
The EEV blog is, has made an offer and is contemplating hiring a full-time, the first full-time EEV blog employee.
A design employee, right?
A design employee, yes.
That is
exciting.
And
design and content.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes. So it's a big commitment. Like, because before, I've had casual employees, right? And they sort of, come and go when you want kind of thing and help out. You know, it's not the same. You know, it's not the same as having somebody committed full time. So that's like, when they're casual, it's like, I don't know if they're going to be in tomorrow because it's like...
Right, exactly.
Because the EV blog's a casual outfit, it's like...
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have guessed that. Yeah, right.
Right,
this means
come
that
and go as you please.
EV blog enterprises continues to grow. So
it continues to grow, yes.
That's a good sign, man.
Yes. It's by far the biggest expense I'll have.
Oh,
having a full-time employee, by far. Right.
Well, also coming from a... you've started selling hardware, so there's obviously a lot more cost to that. But given the previous of like, video didn't have all that much, BOM cost.
No, it doesn't. It's just it's time, and electricity and internet,
right.
And toys to tear down or whatever.
Right.
But, yep.
Oh, great, man! I look forward to hearing more about that as it progresses.
Yep. So that's yes. Starting next month, hopefully. If I've offered someone, haven't heard back yet, but I've offered a position, and we'll see if they can take it when negotiating. And
are you gonna do like 360 reviews? You're gonna like pull all your corporate experience forward and do peer reviews and what else?
What?
I don't know, like
360? What?
You never did a 360? Oh god, they're so bad.
What's it? Right.
These are all like during review time. There's somewhere like you get peer reviewed.
Oh, right. You get your yearly performance review. We used to call them.
Yeah, the 360 review was like, so you review your manager, and then you also review like your coworkers, or if there's people below you and around you.
That's why they call it 360 because everyone reviews everyone else. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. It's like really upping the amount of work for.
Got it.
Yeah. What was the worst review you ever got? Come on, Dave the troublemaker. Did you ever get any marks?
Got always sat in the corner. They just, it was understood that they generally didn't like me and I generally didn't like them, and that's the end of the review. That was generally.
Oh, you got away with that, huh? Okay, it's not bad then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave continues to make boards, so we have to like him.
we never had the 360 thing where we got to review our managers. That never happened.
Oh, so is this your manager reviewing you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I mean, my situation is obviously very different now, but I remember, like, that was super stressful. Like, I remember, like, and I remember the first one I ever had, I was, like, you expect all these grades. It's kind of like grades, like, it's like, 1 to 5, it's like a 1 to 5 rating, right?
Right.
And you're like, oh, of course I'm going to get 5s, right? That's like an A. Of course I'm doing A work. And they're like, well, we can only give out like 3s.
But your attitude's a bit... Yeah, no, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't miss that part. And it was like, to get like a big raise, you need to get like all 5s. And of course, they already knew who they were getting the promotions or the raises to anyways. And it was like, so...
No.
Chris.
To get a raise at our company, the companies I've worked for, had to quit, basically.
Yeah.
That's why,
really?
I've mentioned this before. Everyone would walk around with their signed resignation letter in their back pocket. Look, if you piss me off, I'm just going to quit. Here's my resignation letter. It's like, that's like...
But they wouldn't literally walk around with it, would they?
Some people had it in their desk, yeah.
Oh, on their desk, okay. No one like had it printed on a T-shirt or anything, right?
No. It's like, I hereby resign, sign here, and it's just a blank signature and like... Dare me, come on, like
yeah.
Yes.
Well, that is a good. I mean, yeah, and I think you have mentioned that before, but that is definitely. I mean, it sucks, like especially if you like your coworkers, all that other stuff. But yeah, you're never gonna make as much money in a raise as you will hopping from company to company.
Yeah,
like companies want to keep giving you the 1 to 5% raise depending on company culture. So.
Yeah, you basically had to call their bluff, you know,
Right.
and their bluff is you won't quit. So you've got to say, well, I quit. And then they'll, come on, let's talk about it, you know.
Yeah, right.
But you've got to actually say, I quit first before then they'll actually
sometimes
start
they just
to
say,
negotiate.
okay.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they do. Yeah. Exactly. So
It's that game of chicken.
that happened at I remember the day that you quit ABB. You quit your big job.
That was a little bit different where I asked to go part-time, right? Where
Yeah.
And they said, we don't do that. But, like, come on, if I was a better engineer, like, they probably would have been like...
I remember you were pretty optimistic. We were chatting online beforehand,
we were,
and you went,
yeah.
I'm going to go in and tell them that I want to go part-time. And I went, they're not going to go for it. They're just going to sack you right then and there.
It's all on audio, yes. We recapped it right after that day, yes.
And,
it was February of 2014, yep.
You were pretty surprised. And it was like... Yeah,
I was prepared for it at least. I was prepared for the outcome, but I was...
Right.
I was mostly disappointed.
You thought that'd be a bit... Yeah, you were disappointed. You thought that'd be a bit more...
Yeah. I was... You know, the really surprising thing about that role, I liked everyone I worked with, but you know what? Every time I've tried contacting anyone there, nothing. It's really weird.
What, they've all gone, or they won't talk to you anymore?
They just don't respond to my emails. I texted them. I tried like 2 or 3 times, of course. I'm not going to be like, you know, desperate girlfriend, but like I was like, oh, you know, I was still in the area, and I was like, hey, let's grab some lunch, grab a beer. I've got these meetups all over the town, you know, like whatever. Womp womp.
Nothing.
Oh well.
Not
so either my work turned out super bad, which is totally possible. I don't know. Like, you know, they're not going to tell me if I had some mistake that I didn't find, you know, they found 3 months later, it's like, oh shit.
Right.
But I really hope not. I really hope. But like, how do I know? And at that point, like, they didn't also like. I was always available to call back for like, hey, come fix your thing. You know, I always said that if there was anything wrong, I was always available for them.
And they didn't write. They didn't call.
They didn't do anything, man. So. Maybe their feelings were hurt, right? I mean, like that's the thing you come down to, right? And this is what you're going to experience as well, right? As a growing workplace.
I got constantly pestered after I left, you know. Oh, do you remember where this put? Do you remember how this works? Do you remember like?
Like that. Yeah. No, I just mean that like.
Left this,
but I'm just saying about like human emotions, right? This is just like, you know, I might have slighted them by doing that. And I don't know, like who cares? Like, I can't control what other people do, but the truth of it is like you're like workplaces are groups of human beings, and they're gonna have feelings. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just you got to deal with like it's just the at the end of the day, it's a bunch of humans in a space. You gotta deal with all that other crap. So you're signing up for that a little bit, but I think you'll be okay. I mean, like you're still
But
small.
I will be the man.
You will be the man. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like you're the guy that they're going to whisper about. Yeah.
Yeah, how can it be good? Like, no, it's the bad. I spent my career fighting the man.
You know, my friend just started a new job as like, you know, well, she's the man, right? She's the man in charge of this larger. It's probably going to be 40-person operation eventually.
Well, okay.
Where she's also building it up, and she said that the hardest thing that she's heard from other people in similar situations is the fact that you don't have anyone to complain to. Right, you can't go to your coworkers and complain.
No, you can't just hang out in the lunchroom and go, "Geez, he's an asshole."
Yeah, this friggin' guy, right? Yeah, which means that I'm going to get all the brunt of it, right?
Right.
Thanks a lot, man. I'm going to charge you consulting for bending my ear about employees.
Oh goodness!
You're welcome. We'll do it on air. How about that?
Right. Cool.
Yeah, that's a novel approach.
Anyway, that's a big step. So
well, congrats.
I figure that'll be good.
I'm sure it's all going to work out. Honestly, I mean, why wouldn't it?
Everything I've done is always
try again.
Out.
You know,
yeah. All right, enough of that crap.
Okay. What else is going on?
Oh.
We got some links.
What?
Whoa, damn!
I never thought I would say this. Like I never thought this would happen.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
There is a new Australian electronics magazine starting up. Print magazine starting up.
And I knew exactly what I was going to respond with when I knew you would say that.
What?
Hasn't started yet.
Right.
I wish them the best. I'm sure it's going to be great, but you know. It's 2017. You know, to be fair, you know, journalism, not that this would necessarily be journalism and print and everything else, like, doing better for all the wrong reasons. But I wish them well. What is this? So what is this fly-by-night operation called?
This fly-by-night operation is cleverly titled Diode with a Y, i.e. DIY-ode. Get it? It's quite clever. Apparently, there's already diode.com is already like a hackerspace in Canada or something. But yeah, this is this is the name of the new magazine, and it's starting up in 99 days, 11 hours, 15 minutes, and 56 seconds.
I was going to say, I don't know what
54.
I'm looking at here. Mine says 00 days, so I was like, oh, this starts in 2 hours.
Well, it must be an American thing.
Oh, you know what? It probably flipped over for you, but for people in the States, because we haven't crossed the day line yet. That's probably why.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, July 1st, 2017 is the first issue, and I've signed up for the first print issue just because, I want to...
Are you really that nostalgic for magazines?
Yeah, I will support it. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, no, I'm not saying you shouldn't support it, but I mean, like, are you actually nostalgic for magazines?
Yes, I am. Yes, I grew up with them. Of course I'm nostalgic. Whether or not I think it's a good idea to make one, I was going to do a magazine before I started the blog. That was one of my things. I was going to...
One of your many media empire properties was going to be a magazine?
What?
Your media empire properties. You got video now, you got audio. Next up, man, it's print.
Yep.
Print and
well, I was going to do it. Then I realized no, because I'm a practical guy, right? I realized it was a dying medium, right? And that the blogs were a better way to go. So I went with the blogs, right? So, I like print. Although I said this on the forum, right? There is still a place for these, right? Because Joe
There's always waiting rooms.
Right? No. Here is where I think they fulfill a need, right? Is that they provide credibility.
Sure, yeah.
Right? If you get a project published in a magazine, you are credible. Your project is credible. That's a credible thing to do. If we're always telling people, whack stuff on your own blog and put it in your resume, and that's great, okay? But people are going to be even more impressed if you've been published.
That's
right?
true. I mean, yeah.
That's where I think, I talked to the guy, Rob, his name is Rob Bell, who is starting this up. And, I said this on the forum publicly. I said, what they should do is actually turn this into the preeminent place to publish your stuff. Like
new circuits
new circuits, new projects, stuff like, and really vet the projects well, so that it's an elite type thing that you got published in there.
Yeah,
I think there's still a very good need for that. Whether or not you can make a business out of it, I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical of that.
But you ain't trying either, so
no. But it's not my money on the line.
Right,
so I
right.
certainly wish Rob the best, and I'm going to fully support him and promote it as much as I can. But yeah, I think that's I think they still fill a need like that. Because your average head of engineering at some company probably doesn't know about web blogs and YouTube channels and all the rest of it, right? They probably don't care. They're probably career engineers or whatever, and they're not savvy online engineers like we are.
Ooh,
right?
Yes, we're so savvy. Right. I'm sitting in my smoking
jacket
jacket right now as I click through my RSS reader.
Right. Yeah.
Right. James, fetch the next feed, please, and get me more port.
Right. But because we live in, what's the term where we have a bias because we're immersed in the industry. So we think, everyone knows all about the EEV blog. Everyone knows all about contextual electronics. Everyone knows all about every blog, right? No, but when no, probably 90, 95%.
Well, and I do agree. I do agree with magazines is like one of the things that's really tough is when people say, well, where do I get started, right? And some people will say things like Art of Electronics or stuff like that.
Yep.
But something like this or something like Make Magazine and other stuff like that, it's friendly. It's there's step-by-step instructions. You can even say instructables online, but like that's loaded down with ads and stuff, I think. But I think it's more like just kind of this friendly, non-threatening, and it's like a one-time purchase thing. It's like a low investment.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think from those perspectives, those are all very good things. Yeah, that's great. I also wish them the best. I hope they also put stuff online, because I'm not getting a paper magazine from Australia.
It's available It's available as an online version as well, but it's also available in print. But one thing I think he's going to focus, it is an Australian and New Zealand magazine. And I think that's a mistake. I think
so
you should
all the
go
writing
global.
will have accents, is that right?
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
This is a bloody ripper of a project, you know, in the editorial, you know.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so I'm not sure that the market is there to sustain it, because if you look at Silicon Chip, I think they're struggling to get like 10,000 subscribers now. Right. Well, it's
well, it's niche upon niche upon niche these days.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
it's niche. But anyway, it's going to look schmick, because Rob is a hobbyist, but he owns a publishing company. Right, like like a digital media arts company thing, something like that, you know. So he's actually, so like it looks pretty schmick, and you'd expect it to look schmick from somebody that's their business. That's what they do, you know. So he's kind of like, you know, taking his hobby interest and going, hey, I can make a new electronics magazine. Yeah. So that's probably the ideal person to do it. Yeah. You know.
Well, speaking of magazines and journals, did you see this link for the archive.org?
No.
No, the Bell System Technical Journal. So obviously I've been deep into Bell Labs lore since that book, which I finished, which is great. Yep. And one listener who was I was hanging out with, actually, he pointed me towards this. Basically, Bell Labs had an internal journal. Mm-hmm. From 1922 to 1983, and all of these things went onto archive.org. And not only that, like, you read about it and you start reading, you read about the interaction between these big names that and it's just like, but it's as it's happening, so it's like as they're figuring things out. Yeah. So it's just really, I mean, like, the magnetron is a generator of centimeter waves. It's just like, it was great. So
and they're great quality scans too. Yeah, I mean, they really are.
I mean, really archive.org. I highly recommend people support it. It's a great resource for a variety of media.
Are you able to download them as like PDFs? Is that?
I'm actually not sure about. Yeah, it looks like you are.
Download
Kindle
options.
Too.
Yeah, Kindle. All these different download. What's Abby, Daisy, EPUB? Yep, Kindle, PDF. Yeah. Here we go. I'm going to download this as a PDF, right? Yep, I can.
A little bit of light beach reading, if you're going on vacation soon,
This is great.
Yeah. So there's a ton of stuff in there. So really cool stuff. He pointed me at one other resource too. Oh, the Tim Green course. So there's a 4-part course on op-amp stability. So he was just pointing me all these different resources. Obviously, this is different. It's just the same person who pointed them to me. But this is a 4-part course on op-amp stability. It's like a course that's given internally at TI. And,
right. Okay.
It's all PPT, which someone complained about, but whatever. And it's just really good. So there's the slides, and then he also
by PPT.
Oh, sorry, PowerPoint. Yeah. But he also adds the notes below. So like all the talking points that he would normally have. So you can just go right through. It's like a short college course almost. So really good stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. There's your next, you could just take some of this stuff and just go put it on a whiteboard.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, stability, too. Man, I swear, 10 plus years in, and it's like...
it's
some days I'm like, I don't really know, Dave.
It's a bit of an art.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's doable.
It's entirely science-based, There's no black magic to it. Right? It's just how deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
Well, I think what it is for me is stability and like filtering and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot of, so we were talking about education at the beginning of the show too, right? A lot of the times I'm like, just kind of push off the math for a while. Yep. It's like, you want to do stability stuff, you want to talk about filter stuff. It's like, sorry, you've hit the point where you got to go learn some Laplace transforms, and you got to learn.
You don't.
I mean, you gotta at least understand frequency domain stuff. You gotta understand transfer functions. I think you do. If you're doing it right, I think you do.
No.
All right.
No. What you do is you feed in a square wave,
Right.
And you...
The technician's mode here.
Yep, yep. You feed in a square wave, you look at the output, and you start tweaking those caps, the feedback caps, until you get just a nice rounded output edge.
No.
And then it's stable.
I mean, yes.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it. It makes a stable circuit, guaranteed. Right?
Not in all cases. Dave, I'm sorry. Like, okay, yes, I understand what you're saying, but like, this is don't design any missiles the way that Dave's designing filters right now, please. Yeah. So, anyways,
no, but come on.
Victor, who pointed all this stuff out.
No, come on. For a lot of practical applications, that's more than good enough.
Yes, I totally agree with that. You're right.
Half of the 9/10 of the power supplies out there that are designed would be tested using that model.
Sure.
Right.
I'm not arguing with that, but I'm just saying that when you get past that, right?
Oh,
when you are
it's a big step. No, once you get past it, you've got to go all the way with LBJ, right? If you want to go past that. Right? You can't just go, I'll dip my toe into a bit of theory. No, you've got to go the whole way.
When do you do it, Dave? I mean, that's always the question. Yeah, these are like this episode is like Chris's touch points summarized about education. You know, like when you do it, Dave.
Well, have you done a contextual electronics thing on op-amp stability?
Yeah.
You have? Mm-hmm. Going to make it available?
Nope.
How deep did you go down the rabbit hole?
Not that deep. No.
See, there you go.
That's not what I asked you, though. I asked you when do you go down the? I mean, that's always the question. When do you go? And then at a certain point,
when shit breaks,
breaks, yeah.
It depends if you're required to.
I know.
If I'm not required to, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
That is Dave Jones in a nutshell. If I'm not required to,
no, that's practical friggin' engineering, dude. Come on, you've worked at real companies, right? Sometimes you just don't have time to do that shit, right? You just just need to get something done.
I'm not arguing that sometimes you got to get stuff done. I'm just saying that I've also seen sometimes you need to pull out the math, and it really helps a lot. And I don't know where that point is, but I'm saying that with stability, the chance of pulling out math is a lot higher. How about that? Is that good?
Of course it is.
We're gonna shake hands on that one. We'll duke it out.
Fine.
We'll duke it out when I'm in Australia. Like kangaroo style. Yeah, kangaroo with boxing gloves. Okay.
Like I'll just have a T-shirt that says I'm stable.
I'm not sure that's true.
We have to do some sort of stable, metastable T-shirt or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Well, there was another item on the list that you had pointed out that I had helped record, but it was kind of tied to this stuff. It was thou shalt write stuff down, and it was about engineering documentation, but specifically like this actually talked about like testing, like. And it was really good. So Garrett's one of the Hackaday writers. He gave a talk about that. So it's really good, but it's tied to like project management and all that stuff. It's somewhere between like, so say you're testing a stability circuit, right? And you put in a capacitor and then you remove it. And then you put a new capacitor in, and it's like you didn't record that last value, and then you spend the rest of your day trying to figure out which one it was. It's like, that's when you should have done it.
Did you ever have a company notebook?
I did. Yeah, I did at Keithley. And actually, this is exactly where I hoped this would go. I met up with former guest Ryan O'Hara.
Yes.
And he handed me about 20 friggin' notebooks for the Amp Hour notebooks. So you remember?
Right, he had a stock of them, didn't he?
He had a stock of them, and so he gave you one, he gave me one. I've used
that's
it for
right.
my lab notebook here. But we will be giving them away at some point. They got the really cool Amp Hour embossed logo.
Yeah, embossed logo. They're almost too good to use, Like
they really are.
Yeah.
So we will be giving those away at some point. This is but literally, I will. Maybe the picture for this week's episode will be the pile of notebooks.
A pile of notebooks.
Oh man! Yep. And I had to carry them back in a backpack. It was crazy on a train. So
poor Diddums.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, boy.
You don't use a notebook. Do you use a notebook now or no?
I don't. I used to when I was younger. I don't have a notebook. I still have one, but I don't use it, no. No.
I mean, like, it is tough, right? Like, so, like, you think about the things that we're doing on a day-to-day basis. These, like, so much of it is captured in schematic programs and stuff like that. Like, a lot of the stuff we're doing, or spreadsheets, or, I mean, I don't know. Like, even doing, like, write-ups on like, final documentation. If you're not, like, maybe your products that you're designing would be a good example. Are you doing any of the documentation for that stuff, or no?
God, no.
Yeah.
No.
Right. So, like, that would be another place that you'd have to if that was part of your deal. But it seems like you skirted away from that one, which is bravo, because that's damn. I hate that part.
Yep.
Yeah.
But some people are like that. Some people are super organized and they document everything, and that's what they like doing. And more power to you,
Yeah. I do wish I was that special brand of crazy sometimes.
Yes.
Same
like, here. Yep.
Yeah. It's just that I don't think they get to turn it off. I think that's the real problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. OCD
now writing down, I had 2.5 tomatoes today in my salad. So track the changes over time.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, notebooks. We had company notebooks, and you had to sign and date each page.
Oh, sign and date, of course.
Yeah,
right.
Yep. Yes, and and they stayed with the company when you so no, I can't show you my company notebooks. They made sure they got them off you when you left.
Oh yeah, right. Well, I mean that's just used a lot in patent stuff, right? I mean,
yeah, they're legal documents. Yeah, they need to maintain them. So, yep. Or if something went horribly wrong, your product killed someone, you can go back and show, I actually tested that, and like, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was definitely going to kill them. Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. Speaking of things that can kill people, we got two that could actually fit that one. But did you see this article about the farmers that are hacking their tractors? Because that could definitely kill you.
God, I don't want to know.
No, it's really interesting. So this is actually all about like what Louis Rossmann talks about a lot, right to repair and stuff like that.
Yeah,
this is probably and we've talked about. I think.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So this is like John Deere and.
Yeah. Don't they get feral if you try and?
Right.
These companies get feral if you try and do something to their tractor that's not authorized or something, don't they?
Well, there is that, but like this is the case that's definitely true if you're leasing or anything like that. But these guys are buying these. I mean, they're literally like some of these things are like $500,000. Like these are expensive pieces of equipment. But the idea is if you break apart, they interview a couple of people anonymously, but like so imagine like your tractor's out in the field, you break apart, you already have that part in your garage and you're ready to replace it. Well, until you install it, even if you know how to install it yourself, until a John Deere rep comes out and approves it,
right,
it will not work. Like so, they have like firmware control at each component level.
It stuns me that a freaking tractor has firmware.
Oh, dude, these things are super awesome machines. I mean, like,
it's a freaking tractor. Wheels turn, drag shit behind it. Like.
I mean, Dave, those are big wheels, right? And you think about it, if you're going across, like, so think about consider Kansas, right? I mean, like, just think about if you can get 1% efficiency on the fuel costs, right? As you're going across fields, that could save a lot of money.
Adds up. Yeah, of course.
So, I mean, I think that's kind of what it's tied into. So what these guys are doing though is they're basically going online and they've got cracked firmware from Ukraine, and they install it.
Else? Yep.
Yeah, and it just friggin' works, and no robots have become sentient or have been connected to Ukraine and been talking, but yeah, there's like this burgeoning black market for it, and
sweet.
It's all because Chinese companies come in and they copied all these parts, and like the parts have a lot of cost built into them, I guess, too, and that's a big part of their model, I guess, but. Damn, I mean, like, this is it, man. Like, this is
tractors and firmware. Jesus Christ!
I mean, it's just so big, right? I mean, like this would be like if we were trying to fix like a phone, right, a cell phone, right? It's like if we wanted to switch out a part and then program our own firmware into it, whatever. It's just like we can't do it because we could do it. Lewis could do it, right, because of scale, but most people won't. Whereas on a tractor, everything's just so supersized and everything's controlled. It's like, damn, So I'm not sure where everything is on right to repair legislation. I think it's leaning towards the farmers.
Well, Lewis did a live. He went to wherever it was that
he did. Okay.
Yeah,
it was Nebraska. I did see. I saw that.
Yep. And I didn't catch the tail end of it, but I got the impression that it was a balls up or something, and
Balls up is bad.
balls up is bad. Yep, balls
Like
up
they
is
lost?
balls up. It was a schmozzle, you know. No,
Speak English. I'm so screwed when I go to Australia. What are you saying? These are not words. Because I know it's not just Dave. They all talk like this.
Oh, jeez.
All I know is if you say, I've got the next shout, it means I'm buying the beer, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's the important one.
Got it.
Yeah. In terms of other dangerous things, things that could kill you, photonic induction could definitely kill you.
He
Probably
could kill you. Yep.
More likely to kill. I'd say he's more likely to kill himself actually, but he's pretty safe. So
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's no mug.
yeah, this is actually a really sweet like life video that he's back. He got married and he just kind of posted about going to India and getting married and stuff and. Well, may have been some onion cutting in my place. I don't know. May have been a manly tear shed. You know, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually a really,
you just had something in your eye. You know.
yeah, dude. I mean, he just looks super happy. So it's a really nice video. But congrats to him. Congrats to him. And he's gonna be making more zap videos, I guess.
Right. So he's been gone for a while. I don't follow. Like I'm subscribed, but I don't.
Yeah, I am too. Right. Exactly.
I don't get updates. So.
Right. Right.
I only watch if they happen to show up in my feed somehow because
right.
Google thinks that I want them. Or I think of it, I'll go see what he's doing lately. You know, occasionally I'll just, drop in and see what other channels are doing,
Yep. Well, speaking of protecting yourself from high voltage, man, we just got segue after segue here. Ron posted about a TI part, ISO W7841, which he proposed as chip of the week. And I think since we don't have any other chips, it's got to be, right?
By de facto, it's,
Yeah. So basically, it's one of their capacitive switchers capacitive isolators for like data lines and stuff like that. But then it's also got like a power bus that is isolated as well. So it can do a DC to DC across the isolation, which is really nice if you've never done that because most people don't realize they're like, oh, it's isolated, and then they connect the ground right back. It's like,
right.
That's bad.
Right. So it does 5,000 volts RMS, quad digital channels. What's the bit rate? What's the?
I'm not sure. Usually that is the
maximum data
thing.
rate, 100 megabits per second.
That is fast. You got to be careful with that.
Holy speedy, Batman.
Yeah, I've gotten burned by that before. Usually you pay. I mean, you definitely pay more. I remember like the older ones. It was like at 1 megabit, it was like 50 cents. And then it was like 5 megabit, it was 75 cents. And then it was like 100 megabit, it jumped way up. And I was like, that's $5. Oh my God. So,
these ones are $5.
Oh. Oops. Yeah. Well, there you go. But, if you need it, you need it. So that's the other thing. So
exactly.
And these, I mean, like, we were talking a little bit about industrial last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago. Whenever we were talking about industrial last. These kind of things
I don't remember our episodes, dude. You know this.
I just meant like relative, blah, 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 industrial.
We just talk about the same shit every week, so the answer is yes.
Much.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that the other
chips
week. Of course
and,
we did.
YouTube and
and
books. The same book. I'm switching books.
Finally. Man.
Yeah. So,
else?
thank you.
Right.
Thank you to Ron for submitting that. I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about next? We got so many things.
Which we complained about before the show that we had Jack Orr, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we'll just make some shit up. That's what we're talking about before the show.
Well, how's your build going? You done with that? You're done with your speaking of zappy things? Did your Nixie come back?
No, the Nixie tube clock. No. I've got to tweak the layout before I send it off. I just haven't had time to do that lately. Been too busy.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah. I got one of my boards back.
Oh, speaking about high... Yeah, go.
Oh, it was really stupid. Where it's like, you look at a board and you're like, oh, of course, 74HC 595s, of course I got those, right? And it's like you go through and you're just kind of looking at it, you're like, oh, yeah, of course I've got literally hundreds of those, right?
Right.
And then I get the board back and I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's an SOIC package, and I definitely only have dips. And it's like, oh, shit,
Yep. Well,
check your BOM, folks. Check your BOM.
I screwed up the width of my package. It was a wide SO, And
right, yep.
Yeah, I think we talked about that.
It happens to all of us, right?
Yeah.
It's
and I could just bend the legs under, and just like hack it, but I'd probably fix it.
I had a conversation again with a friend about circuit board milling. Because the space that I work out of, we're kind of considering getting one, and I've been like, if you're gonna do one, get like another mill. Like I like the other mills; they're nice. The new Pro
if you're
looks
desperate,
nice.
They're okay.
Right.
Like if you definitely need a board like right now, but shit, you can etch one as well right now if you want.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, and I think the thing is, if you're up a creek, you're up a creek, right? But most of the time. Well, so this friend, he recommended too, which is the right, this is definitely the right advice. It's like, take the cost of the machine, look at the cost of however many overnight boards you can get for that same cost, and how soon are you going to do the crossover, right? Yeah. Write that in your notebook. It's like, that's the...
I can remember one of my early jobs back in, the early 90s. Making boards actually commercially at my company.
Oh, really? Wow.
Oh, yeah, I was making them because we didn't have we didn't have the prototype services back then. And to get a board made, yes, you had to go, it'd cost you $800 or $1,000 to get your board made. It'd take 2 weeks, right? And then you had to get a purchase order. You had to fill out the you had the purchase requisition and everything, and it was on triplicate paper, so you had, the carbon triplicate paper, so you had to hand fill it. I need to order this PCB.
Those days. Yep.
Right? And so it was a pain in the ass. So I just went, I can remember when I started there, and, they went, oh, yeah, we've got to order a board. It'll take a couple of weeks. And I just went, no, I can, make one and we can have it by the end of the day. And they went, you can do that? And I went, yeah. Yep. And so I bought in my etching gear from home, and I was etching my own boards. I was etching the company boards. So
hope
that
you
was
charged double.
Oh yeah, I was on an hourly rate, So
of course.
I was a contractor, So but they were stunned. That was a revolution for them, Holy shit, you can spin a board in a day. Wow.
Right.
It changes everything.
I was having this conversation too about, so again, the space I'm at, it was like, so there's this huge pick and place line, which is really cool. Not huge. It's not huge, but it's big.
The space has its own pick and place line.
Yeah, it's like 2 pick and place machines. It's got a paste applicator, 2 pick and place machines, and then a reflow oven, and then there's
who runs it?
It's a local company that does other assembly stuff. I think this is like their older equipment. They put it in there, and then they're gonna hire people to be in there. But
right, okay. Because I was going to say you need somebody who actually runs it. You can't have any bloody Tom, Dick, and Harry coming up and having a go. Using the pick and place machine.
Right. Well, and that's the same thing that my friend recommended for those board milling machines. It's like, if you want to have one, that's fine, but you better have the guy or the girl, to be doing that all the time. That's all they're doing.
Yeah,
and nobody else touches it.
Yep.
And that's kind of the problem with these shared spaces in general. But even beyond that, right? So say now you have someone sitting there. But you think about the cost of someone loading up a full machine, right? Obviously, just the usual assembly stuff. I was like, we could hire a tech for like $30 to $40. I was rewatching Akiba's Hackaday SuperCon thing, and he was talking about there's this placement service in, obviously it was Shenzhen, but it was like a placement service in Shenzhen where they buy the stencil and they just they put together 5 boards and then they'll reflow it, right, in a little oven. But it's just you're paying someone just to do that all day long. And you can get 3 to 5 boards out of it, but pay them for a day's wage. It's probably still going to be cheaper than getting it all set up and all that stuff.
Of course it is. Yeah. It's going to be order of magnitude cheaper.
Yeah. So, and they do have a manual pick and place, like a like a little arm you can manipulate.
Yeah, a little arm that. Yep.
Yeah. It's a who is it? Mancorp, I think. Yeah, it's a little Mancorp.
Yep.
Manual arm, so that's cool, and then there's there's a separate reflow oven that's not the big one. So I mean, all these things are good, but it's like these scale problems, right? Like, how do you go from 5 boards to 50 boards, or 50 boards to 500 boards, and 500?
There's no half-assed approach. Once again, you've got to go all the way with LBJ, right? You can't just.
Did I miss this phrase? Sorry, is this another? What is it?
You should know it, but you're too young because
LBJ, like Lyndon B. Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson, yes.
Is that like a campaign slogan you had?
It was a campaign slogan, and people think, why am I repeating an American campaign slogan? And I'm not. Well,
Okay.
technically it is.
Okay.
But our Prime Minister at the time famously used the line when he said we're going in to join the war in Vietnam. We're going to go all the way with LBJ. You know, and like he's you bet. And he stood on the steps of Parliament House or whatever, I don't know.
Right.
And he went, "We're going all the way with LBJ," and it's a common phrase here, you know, to go all the way with LBJ.
Sounds like that would not be a positive phrase.
No, it's almost a mocking thing, you know. But it's just turned into a generic phrase, you know. Gotcha. So nothing's meant by it.
I'm so screwed when I go to Australia. I'm so screwed. What are you saying? Anyways, yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. And it's like, you know, I've been writing about a lot of this stuff recently too, and it's like, you know, like at a certain point, it's like you stop everything you're doing, you're bored, your 5 boards are done, they're tested, whatever. It's like you are ready to redo your board for manufacturing. Right. And you're going to make 500 of that thing, and hopefully in a couple lots of 500 until it's ready to go to the next stage. And then it's going to be redone again and cost reduced. It's like, damn, these are people's jobs. Like that's what you do is you cost reduce or you optimize for these mid-run processes. You know, it's like that is a full-time thing. It's not easy. You know, that's manufacturing engineering. It's tough.
Totally.
So, hats off to all the manufacturing engineers out there. Because damn, I hate it. Yeah.
That's why you moved into social media.
Yes, that's my main. Right. There's lots of futures there, Dave. Yes, Maven.
What do you tell people these days? What do you do for a living? What do you know? Somebody, you know, you're at a.
What I always do is I carry some sand around in my pocket and I throw it in their face and I run the other direction.
Right.
Much easier, right? And then after they call me and they're like, well, "Why did you do that?" And I go, "Silicon, duh," right?
Right.
It's all around us and in your eye.
No. You should take the sand out of your pocket and go like, you know, I make magic with you know, and like sprinkle it like magic dust all over the all in front of them.
But where did the sand come from? Your pocket. It came from your pocket. Speaking of manufacturing,
come on. I want to know. What do you tell people?
Oh, I tell people I work on...
What do you do for a living?
I say I design electronics, which I do for Contextual Electronics, and I talk about electronics, which I do for here, and I do that for Supply Frame. So, still there.
Right. Well, technically you don't do this shit for a living, because we don't make anything out of this.
Well, you know.
You know.
You don't.
No.
Right. Yes. I'm just imagining like me counting money that I got somehow for ads we don't have. Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of manufacturing, Google Glass didn't disappear, Dave. I don't know if you knew about this. I bet you didn't think I was going to say Google Glass today.
Come on.
Yeah. I just wanted to pull a Dave signature move and say "told you so," right? Because that's what we do here, apparently. But this is what I've always talked about. Like, I think this is pretty much the only...
I said this as well. I said
this is the only potential use for this to ever possibly work.
Exactly.
So, I think, you know, obviously this is overblown as well, right? I mean, those things heat up like crazy. But you know, future revs, especially if they are putting money towards it, and if they are... you know, ruggedizing this thing, I think it's a really legit thing for like you know, Amazon warehouse or whatever, right? Or manufacturing facility, whatever.
There's
I think
lots of niche uses. It's just people aren't going to be wearing this shit in the street, though. That's
right. I think we've all gotten to that point.
We've established that. Right.
I might bring mine to Australia. We'll see.
You're right.
No, I don't think the apps even work anymore for the commercial stuff. But there's other good stuff too. Like there was one.
They're $2,000 each. They want to work well.
Yeah.
Wow.
There was an article I found a couple months ago actually about this too. That it's actually really great. The Stanford's using it for autism. So basically to help kind of recognize, like one part of autism is not being able to recognize, as I understand it, is not being able to recognize emotions. And so basically the image processing helps to recognize it and then kind of displays what the other person might be feeling. And then it kind of just helps to train in those ways. And so I think that's really cool too. And so like medical stuff, my buddy who's a doctor got it as well. And he always said it was very useful. Once you get past the, if everybody in the hospital is wearing it, it'd be different, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we'll see.
Meh, whatever.
I'm not.
It's still completely failed.
Yes.
Yeah, because the
Right.
vision failed.
How it was presented, it definitely failed. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, maybe it could be repurposed as a Swatch OS.
What?
Sorry, I don't know. I always crack up at these stories too. Swatch apparently is like, it would be a good thing right now. Start competing with the Apple Watch.
Yeah, people still buy Swatch watches that I like.
Apparently, yeah.
Right.
For the quality.
Right.
I don't actually. I never understood the Swatch thing. I mean, it was like
it was some viral marketing thing. Yeah, 90s something. Yeah,
I see them in airports sometimes.
I didn't get it. Some colourful watches. Before that they're all bland and boring or something.
Right.
Apparently, I don't know.
So yeah, apparently we're gonna have another entrant to the market. So watch out, every company making wearable IoT crap that nobody actually wants.
I think I'll get my new employee to go back and do my micro watch. What do you think? I'll take on Apple myself. Screw them.
I'll
crush them.
You'll crush them. I mean, the one thing I did like that I wish Pebble would have stuck around for is the idea that they put that they modularized it, right? So it was like that was probably a lot of these other people could do it, but like the fact that Pebble was doing that, just because then it's like, yeah, you kind of dropped this in as a module for whatever. That could have found a lot of other uses, I think, so that's unfortunate that got squashed in the acquisition / buyout, whatever. So
I did follow that. What actually happened to it in the end? But
yeah, they're part of Fitbit now.
Yeah,
they got bought out by Fitbit.
Yep. I don't know what actually happened to the watches themselves.
I don't know either. I don't. Yeah. Again, I don't wear watches, so yeah.
Freak.
I know.
I cannot go anywhere without my watch. I feel naked.
Yep. Well, do we hit our mark?
Tune in. Tune in next week when Dave takes on Apple.
Yeah, well, we're not recording next week, Dave.
Oh, aren't we?
I'm on a plane all day.
Right.
I will be crossing a day
Shit,
line.
is it next week? Really?
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
but you won't be here until the week after, right?
Right, exactly. So, so
right.
and even this, I mean, people are listening. They're like, "What are you talking about?" This is getting posted Sunday. What you're listening to now. Obviously, we shifted all that stuff. It's been going okay, I guess. I don't know.
People still listen.
Yeah, I guess. If you do, we're eventually going to be giving away Amp Hour notebooks. So stick in there. We did give away that book. That eventually,
Yep.
So, and we do have. We have scopes to give away at some point.
Oh, we have
too.
scopes to give away. No one gives a shit about notebooks, dude. Everyone wants a scope.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Scope's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, me and Dave will figure out how to give away scopes.
There's quite an innovation in the scope space recently. Roden Schwartz just came out with a really schmick 10-bit ADC scope.
The one that Mike reviewed? I saw some of that.
Yeah, he's done a quick review. I haven't watched it. But yeah, it's like, but they came like it's pretty pricey, But they came out with this killer launch deal where it was like a limited numbers, limited time only. It was like $2,000, but it was like a $6,000
Sunday.
But it was like a $6,000 scope for $2,000, and it was like, wow, there's like ridiculously good value, stupidly good value. You'd be crazy to buy anything else if you're looking for a $2,000
scope. You're like buying especially if you're buying for like a company where if you can be like, hey boss, I'm just going to buy 3.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just one happens.
I blew up 2, but who cares? It's
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
That was absolute bargain. And then there's a new Siglet one as well, which I
That's
shot
the one you found
footage
in your
of.
trash, right?
Well, no. I've got it on loan anyway. Anyway, I was going to release a video and then they told me not to. So, yep. I don't know. Some shit's changing. I don't know. Anyway.
You should tell them to go all the way with LBJ, man.
Right, I know.
Right. What would it be? Go all the way with DLJ. Bingo.
Go all the way with DLJ.
Yes. We've got a title.
I've got a new T-shirt. I went all the way with DLJ.
Who the hell is going to wear that, Dave? I'm not wearing that. Nope. Not wearing it. Never.
Maybe if you lose a bet or something.
Excellent. All right. Well, hey, if we missed any articles, you can always go on our subreddit. We always post more stuff there. And, well, I will probably...
Well, you can follow us on the AMP Hour because the stuff gets posted.
It does.
Anything I read, it automatically gets posted on our
Twitter.
Yep.
The AMP Hour, no spaces.
Yep. And we don't do any of that Facebook shit.
We actually do.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, it doesn't post the articles on Facebook.
Right.
I post the episodes there. So.
Right.
Yeah.
You manually post them there?
No, I use my social media powers, Dave, that you so eloquently referred to before. Oh man, I'm really wondering, are me and Dave going to get in a fist fight when I get to Australia? We'll find out. I guarantee he'll win. I know I will never win, but I'm just saying, will we get in a fist fight? Tune in soon to see.
Catch you next time.
See ya.